Things are getting interesting in Morgantown. Rich Rod has a large salary pool to work with, and with that comes huge names. Could we pull an SEC coordinator to the Big 12? There's Rich Rod ties there, and I think it's possible. Let's talk about that and more on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, everydayers? My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is another episode of Locked On West Virginia. Glad to have you guys here, brought to you by FanDuel. Guys, start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with 150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Don't forget about FanDuel.com to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen every single day and being an everyday listener to the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team every single day. Speaking of somebody that gets it done every single day, man, this guy wore the colors, the old gold and blue. He's gone on to be even more successful since then. 3-time best-selling author. His wife's an incredible singer. Reflections 2.0 is something that he is getting into, motivational quotes, things like that. And I could go on and on and on. Obviously, we know him from Napoleon's Corner. If you've seen him with Scholar Callahan, he's all over the place doing everything. We're talking about none other than former Mountaineer running back, always a Mountaineer, though, Eugene Napoleon. What is up, my dude?
What's going on, my guy? Thank you so much for having me on your platform. I love it.
Yeah, glad to be here, man. So, appreciate you, first of all, for coming on. And obviously, if anybody watched during the Neyland/Rich Rod years, they know who you are. You've been around a lot. And thank you for your time you spent in the uniform, man. It means a lot to all of us.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Yeah. Love West Virginia. That's my second home. And it was a pleasure and an honor, not only to attend the university, but to graduate from there. And once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer.
Absolutely. Well, a familiar name's back, man. And I know you're a fan of it. I saw you talk about it. Obviously, Rich Rod's back. And what comes with that? Donor support, fan support, Pat McAfee support. Like, literally everybody wanted this, whether it be from nostalgia or from what he's doing now. It's not like he stopped winning. He was winning. So here we are. It's Rich Rod 2.0. If you want to go there, we'll just tie it into reflections. And he's aiming high, Napoleon. It was released today. More than doubling the salary pool for Neil Brown and his staff at a little over $5 million is what Rich Rod's going to have to spend on a staff, which puts him right up there with Gundy at Oklahoma State. Right. How big is that in your eyes? And I mean, he's aiming high for an SEC defensive coordinator, Zac Alley at Oklahoma. And look, at the very least, that kid's going to get a raise, but I'm hearing there's traction.
Listen, that's huge. Like anything else, when you have money to spend, you're going to get quality people. And Rich knows more than anybody else, to win at this level and to win consistently at this level, you have to have quality people. What brings people to the table? Money. When they feel like they're going to be compensated well for their skill set, they will come to the table. The other thing that I like about, I've known Rich for many, many years. He is not going to go and get somebody and allow it just to be a money grab. It's going to have to be the right fit.
Yeah.
I respect that. He's going to be very diligent with who he brings in because that means a lot. It's not just about the money. It's a combination of you're going to be paid well, but you're going to be expected to do a job. And I mean, do a job like right now, because he's not going to wait to win. He wants to hit the road winning. You know what I mean?
Yep. Zac Alley knows his way around. I'm going to read a quick article from Scholar Callahan, somebody you know pretty well. It says Zac Alley would be a home run hire for Rich Rodriguez and the West Virginia Mountaineers. The very first thing West Virginia head coach Rich Rodriguez has to do is put a staff together, ideally. It depends on the coordinator I hire. I've got a couple I've talked to, and they're different, Rich Rod said Thursday. And everybody runs the same of everything now defensively, a little bit of the same. Whether it's an odd stack or an even front, everybody has certain personnel packages. And I'm just going to kind of skip through the article a little bit. He doesn't have a hard time running the 3-3-5. We know that, Eugene. But, when he was at UL Monroe down there with Terry Bowden, he met a kid by the name of Zac Alley, who at the time was 27 years old. And look, that unit finished 33rd in scoring defense. Really, really good. Obviously, then Rich Rod brings him over to Jacksonville State, and he fits this exact style that Rodriguez wants to play, Eugene, which is an aggressive, fast, physical, and aggressive style. And he throws those wrinkles in pre-snap. I'm curious, have you had a chance to look at anything Alley does, or did you follow him when he was at Rich Rod and at Jack State or anything like that?
Absolutely. Followed him when he was at Jack State, and I followed him this season at Oklahoma. He's a high football IQ guy. And when you're able to mix in your fronts, very exotic blitzes, very exotic schemes up front with the front three, front four, and those guys are never really stationary. So it drives offensive coordinators crazy because you don't know where the blitzes are coming from. You don't know where the schemes are coming from. So that's why it's easy for him to scheme against any offense, because I think it's like he must be a great chess player, because it's almost like he's 3 steps ahead of what the offense is doing. And that's in this conference, in the Big 12 conference, where they want to throw the ball, a lot. He does do really good things when it comes to stopping the run and also stopping the pass. So I think he would be a home run for sure because of his high football IQ, and he mirrors what Rich wants to do offensively. As far as Rich being aggressive offensively, he wants his defensive coordinator to have an aggressive defense as well.
Yeah, and obviously the fanfare that's going to come with an SEC hire is obviously going to be obvious. And then you got guys like Josiah Trotter who are going around to these SEC programs right now. You can say, hey, look, man, you don't have to go to the SEC to get coached by an SEC guy. We're bringing one that held Alabama to 3 points home, right? And I mean, that's hard to do. I don't care if DeBoer's the coach. I don't care if you or me's the coach. Alabama is going to score the 3 points most games, right? So Absolutely. It was an impressive performance. I went back and watched it. It was such a masterful performance. Jalen Milroe, you can argue, maybe the toughest quarterback in the country to prepare for, and did such a good job cutting off his running lane, spying him the whole way, and really putting a nickel on him at spy instead of your traditional linebacker. It was really impressive to me. So it's obvious he's not afraid to try different things, do different things, and would be a home run hire. He's not the only person we're looking at, though. Jeremiah Johnson is an interesting name at La Tech. Got them guys in the top 20 in overall defense this year. And he may not be as expensive as the SEC guy, Napoleon.
Let me tell you something about JJ. I've known JJ for quite a few years now, and what he's done at
La Tech. Iowa. Oh, yeah, Northern Iowa, too.
For a long, long time. Then he went to Kent State and now La Tech. Again, another guy, another high football IQ guy with exotic defenses, and he understands he's going to apply pressure from different angles. And it's, again, when you have a guy that kind of outthinks you offensively, it just frustrates the heck out of you. I watched, obviously, what he did when he was at Northern Iowa. Of course, Jack State played against him at La Tech, and, Rich pulled out a Hail Mary, thank God, to beat him at La Tech.
I remember that.
He schemed he called a very good game. He really did defensively.
What is the best? Maybe you don't know this, and I'm sorry because you're an offensive player, but generally speaking, what's the best? What do people try to do against Rich Rod? Generally speaking, like when you're playing this type of offense, what is the just base defense you try to play?
Well, here's what's funny, right? So I've seen people make the mistake of stacking the box, right? Loading up the box.
Right.
Because they know Rich, the tempo that he wants to run, not understanding there's 3 or 4 different tempos that Rich runs out of that offense.
Right.
Depending on what happens first down, second down, and third down, there's 3 different tempos.
Yeah.
So you load the box, and let's say you put him behind the chains on first down, right?
Okay.
He's going to change the tempo.
Right.
So
yeah, I see what you mean.
It's masterful to watch him when I'll put it this way, when he's in his bag.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
It's masterful
I love
to see
that.
defenses, when you make the mistake of loading the box, what happens is you open up the outside lanes for your receivers, those quick slants and crossing routes. You do that, now you run the non-route straight up the rails.
Yep.
And if you watch Jack State and if you watch West Virginia back in the day, dude, it was almost impossible to stop.
Cam Vaughn this year.
Thank you. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, we don't want to throw the non-route. We don't want to throw the crossing routes. Then he will screen you to death.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so it's really hard. I think most people, you can't play a single high safety with that type of offense either. You get killed. Right.
Yeah.
If you play two high safeties, and let's say they're off the hash,
you're going to ram down your throat. Yeah.
Right. So Rich does a great job of keeping the defensive coordinator at task. You better be well-versed, and you better have something in your bag to stop the multiple sets that he has. And when that thing is cranking, think about it this way. 25 first downs is Rich's goal. Whenever he reaches 25 first downs, they win 90% of their games.
Wow. That's crazy. That's funny. Neil Brown had a similar record with first downs, but it was at a slower tempo. So I don't know. It was like, I think I'm going to say 20 first downs or something like that. But when Neil got to 20, he was pretty good. Right. Because obviously it means he held the clock the entire game, So up next on Locked On West Virginia, we're going to dive into something I think is fascinating. And it's just the NIL that's been pouring in for this hire, Pat McAfee, and I don't even know if you can quantify what he does for us, Eugene. Stick around, guys. We're going to talk about that on this episode of Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by FanDuel, guys. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. That's if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page you place your bets. You just have to visit FanDuel to join today. And don't forget, that's $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. And I am back with Eugene Napoleon from Napoleon's Corner. Echoes, what are some things you're promoting right now, Napoleon?
Well, one thing for sure, I'm a motivational speaker, but I have my motivational quotes book out, Reflections 2.0. It's available Amazon.com. It's available at Barnes & Noble. And it's actually a Barnes & Noble bestseller. The top 100, it came in at number 6.
Wow. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'm blessed and highly favored. My wife is a multi-platinum recording artist. We own the company, Nat Vision Entertainment. So she has a new single that we're going to be pushing top of the year, 2025, which I'm really excited about. So looking forward to it, man. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to promote, and thank you.
No problem at all, man. We've got almost 300 people in here. We might as well let them hear what you got going on. Man, during the coaching search, we had 3,000 people in here. I was like, I couldn't even see the chat. It was like flying by. Those are fun times. We still get up there, though. Okay. I don't even know where to begin, because might that be the most insane press conference? Just first of all, let's just start there. Rich Rod's press conference, the mixture of prodigal son with healing wounds, with the guy in the beginning trying to ruin it all, and how Rich handled that. You're not going to knock Rich off balance on a microphone, first of all. It's just not going to happen. He's too quick. He's too quick with it. I mean, he's like a used car salesman, has a negative connotation, but I don't mean it that way. He's just quick-witted, on his feet. He can sell himself easily. And here he is in the middle of a press conference, and one guy boos. That he gets booed out of the building, but on TV, to us, it looks like they're booing him. So I'm like, what's going on right now? And then all of a sudden you see this one guy that decided to travel all the way down there to do this. Anyway, nails the press conference, but it's just this whole mixture of McAfee's there. We're on ESPN for literally, from 12 to 2? How do you quantify what that means to the university?
To be honest with you, I'm in business now 28 years and counting, right? Marketing is definitely one of the strategies that we use. But here's the funny thing about marketing. Usually it's about the optics. And behind the optics, sometimes it's not as much. With Rich, what that thing did, it allowed people to really get a chance to reconnect with Rich. And I love the fact that it was done the way that it was done, because he said several times, I should have never left. So for the fan base that was really upset and still hurting, and I can understand that, right? He pretty much laid it out. I should have never left.
Right.
In other words, my bad. This was something that should have never happened. But to be able to do it on that platform, and you talk about ESPN, you talk about Pat McAfee, who I absolutely love, great guy. So you couldn't have laid that thing out any better than that. And it wasn't just the optics. Here's a man standing up there letting you know, I'm home. I'm glad to be home. I'm going to earn your trust back.
Yeah.
And he did it in such a way where, come on, you have to look at that and say, you know what?
I got to give him another chance. Yeah.
Come on. You know what I mean? He didn't shy away from that, and he did it on such a grand stage.
The grandest, literally. I think that might be the grandest press conference ever. Really, when you think about it, how many people? I mean, I went and checked on McAfee's YouTube channel. There was 30,000 people in that chat watching that. And it's funny because by association of, obviously, Pat himself is beloved, and all these people that normally would probably kind of hate on West Virginia because it's always been fun for people to do, but because they want it for Pat so bad, by extension are rooting for us because they see how much it means to him. I was watching that vibe go on as I watched this press conference. I was reading the comments. Everybody was happy for Pat, happy for Pat, happy for Pat, because this is healing. It's really him and Rich together healing from this in a lot of ways. And he's tried to paint that way. And I think it's interesting. And look, the guns we have on our side, unfortunately, for whatever reason, you want to call it they didn't believe, you want to say whatever, Eugene. Neil never got this kind of support. Let's be honest here. He didn't get this kind of support, but he also didn't earn it. Rich kind of already did before. So it's an interesting mixture. But you hear numbers. Obviously, we're going to be a full revenue share. That's going to help. But I mean, what kind of players do you think Rich Rodriguez will go for in the portal with this kind of money? Do you think he's just going to go after these, like Chris Henry's a good example, but not really because he's a legacy kid, like those type players? Or do you think he's going to get his guys, whether or not they're 2, 3, 4 stars? Where do you think he's going to start? Where would you start? It's an interesting question.
Let me tell you something. Like I said, I've known Rich a long time.
Right.
Rich is going to get Rich's type of players. And those are guys that are hard edge guys. They don't care about the stars. They don't care about the limelight. They want to come and they want to play.
Right.
That's the first foundational piece that Rich is going to go after, those type of guys. It ain't the glitz and glamour guys, because he knows, not to be disrespectful, but I'm not a star guy either. I don't like the 5, 4, 3, all that nonsense, right?
Yeah.
If you can play, you can play.
Yeah.
I want the kid that wants to come to WVU because it's a great school. Whether you're going to, who knows? God forbid you're injury away, right? I told my son when he picked the school that if you wasn't an athlete, you would still attend that college.
I like that.
Period.
Yeah.
Right. It just so happened he was a talented athlete, so he came to West Virginia.
Right.
But my point is, those are the type of kids that Rich is going to go after. Now, in lieu of that, you know what happens. When you start winning, you're going to get the 5-star, 4-star, 3-star.
A little higher quality of athlete. Right.
You're going to get that. But I guarantee you this. Whoever's wearing that uniform from this day forth under Rich Rodriguez, I can guarantee you this. They're going to play like they have hair on fire. Not that I know anything about that. But I guarantee you they're going to be the best in shape, the hardest hitters when it comes to defense and offense. They're going to give you 100% effort, and those are the type of kids that Rick's going to bring into Morgantown. I guarantee it.
You know what I'm excited about? Here's what I want more than anything, Eugene, because I hear this all the time. Actually, I just had a Texas Tech guy on who he's kind of like their Tony Caridi. His name is Chris Level. And
Okay.
he kind of makes these comments to me every now and again. I haven't actually told him about this, but he says this to me all the time. Well, this isn't the Big East, right? Like he says that to me, and I'm thinking, man, I want Rich to come in here and run this like the Big East again, you know? And I know that it is, and look, I understand. The Big 12 is a tougher conference than the Big East was post, Miami, Boston College, Louisville, and all that. But man, there were some years where that was a little tougher conference than people give it credit for. It's just the name equity wasn't there, right? I mean, obviously you've got Louisville, and really outside of that was us. So, not much name equity. But I would love nothing more than for Rich to run this conference, man. And it's out there to be ran. I think
Absolutely.
Kenny Dillingham, like what he did at ASU this year opened some eyes. And I think Rich could do it in year one.
Let me be honest with you. And okay, I'm gonna make a bold statement right here on your show.
Okay. We're here for it.
I guarantee you, we'll put a stake on it. Rich will win at least floor 8 games his first year. That's the floor, right? Whatever the ceiling's going to be, it's going to be. But and people don't understand. I'm going to go back to that statement. This is not the Big East. Well, prior to the Big East becoming the Big East, it wasn't the Big East either.
Right.
What I mean by that is when I played for Coach Nealon, we were independent.
True.
So I want to put it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
12, when it first started, as you know, was the Big 8.
Right.
Then it morphed into the Big 12, right? When it first started, people was like, what is this? Oh, my God. Nobody's playing no defense. They're scoring 80 points a game.
That changed.
You got the complaints. Then you got some defense being played. If they don't think that Rich Rodriguez can come back to Morgantown and take West Virginia and with a defense and with that style of offense, and you can't replicate what he did 17 years ago, then they may not understand football.
You might not know ball. Yeah. I'm 100% with you.
You still got to tackle. You still got to block. You still got to run the ball, catch the ball, and be really sound on special teams. What do you think this is? This man wins because he understands that particular blueprint.
That's the blueprint. I love that. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, guys, Eugene and I are going to put our final thoughts on this episode. Stick around for that, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by TNT College Football Playoff, guys. It's that time of the year. The College Football Playoff is back. And with the newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the College Football Playoff begins December 21st, starting with College Football Playoff kickoff show at 11 a.m. Eastern on AT&T. Leading into our first matchup, Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling Penn State Nittany Lions. Then Clemson Tigers look to upstate Texas Longhorns in a 4 p.m. Eastern showdown. Don't miss a moment of the action and watch the College Football Playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. And back with Eugene Napoleon. One more time while we've got closer to 400 people in here now, Eugene. Anything you want to put out there where people can find you at, subscribe?
Absolutely. Definitely go, if you don't mind, Napoleon's Corner is on YouTube. Please subscribe. If you want to purchase my book, Reflections 2.0, you can get it from Barnes & Nobles or you can get it on Amazon. And anything that my wife, Naya, NY''A, her music is everywhere. But if you're a Spotify listener, you can go to Spotify or anywhere that you download your digital music from.
Veritex says, Eugene Napoleon, there's a name I haven't seen for a while. Glad to see you doing well. Jeremy Armentrout, Eugene, good to see you. Excited about this hire. God bless you, brother. I want to be clear here, by the way, guys. I hope you're talking about Rich Rod. I know the thumbnail says thanks Oklahoma, but this is technically not a hire as far as Zac Alley goes yet. I am confident they're going to do their very best. And likely what'll happen if I had to make a prediction, Oklahoma's probably going to keep him because they can pay a little more than us. But I wouldn't be shocked to see this happen either. What would you say, Gene?
I'm with you on that. Listen, when you have the type of money that's floating around, and you're going to go and you want your DC, you're going to do what you got to do to get them.
Yep.
And Zac Alley, listen, he's the cream of the crop, man. He's one of the best. It wouldn't surprise me if Oklahoma's looking at this and saying, "Hey, I'll tell you what. Let me throw a little. Let me put some cheese on that burger for you. Let me throw a little bit,
and take that co out of there too, right? He's a co DC, right. Even though he's calling the plays. That's like people were. So I was watching their game earlier this year, and they kept saying this Brent Venables defense. That would kind of irk me if I was calling the plays, right? Yeah. Venables has a ton of input. He probably has a ton of input. Absolutely. But I mean, this kid's calling the plays, right? I mean, let's not get it twisted here. He was the reason Alabama got held to 3, and the players. So yeah, I'm with you. I think West Virginia's going to make a good run at him, right? Probably at $1 million or so. I mean, he's making $800K. You've got to get him to $1 million. I mean, look, Jordan Leslie was making $800K, guys. No offense, but he wasn't earning that $800K this past year. So that's just me, though. Eugene, man, this has been fun.
Definitely.
So Eugene Napoleon made a prediction, a bold one at the floor at 8 games for Rich Rodriguez. I love it, man. I love to see it. Some people are asking me in the chat, man, and can I put you on the spot just openly? People are asking about your son. They want to know, is he coming to Morgantown?
Let me tell you something. We've been praying about that. They just left today to go down to Orlando. They're playing in Jack State's playing in the Cure Bowl on Friday.
Yeah.
And listen, at the end of the day, my wife and I, we've been praying on this thing. That would be awesome. Let me tell you something. Wherever Brandon's been, he's done a tremendous job. He's a hard worker. He's a diligent recruiter. And I have to say this, everywhere he's been, he's coached. He's helped develop an All-American, an All-Conference player everywhere he's been. So, yeah, I would love to see him. Are you kidding me? Back in Morgantown? Oh, right. My God.
Right.
Yeah. So
especially with the pool of money he's got to play with now. I mean, Brandon get paid too. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'll tell you this, for all the fans out there who asked that question, listen, from your lips to God's ears, man, thank you for everybody who's pulling and who's supporting him and supporting the Napoleon family. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yep. You deserve it, man. You're truly, of all the people, and unfortunately Dale passed away, but one of the better representations of what we have former player-wise out there. Because, a lot of guys, do it somewhere else now, or they got other things going on in their life. And you've always made a point to come back, do these shows or whatever it is you do. You're very much a vocal part of what that is, and I just appreciate it and really love it, man. I love that you guys do this stuff. So I think Pat McAfee might be winning that overall battle right now.
Listen, as he should. Like I said,
give me that Propa.
I have so much respect for Pat. I never had the pleasure of meeting him in person, but he seems to be a heck of a dude, man, and he's doing it the right way. And congrats to him and all the success. Yeah,
I love that we got like 2 minutes left here. I love that he's got all these ideas about helping pump revenue for Rich, like doing more shows at the Coliseum. He said, they put him on the spot the other day. They said, do you think you'll be here on 9/13? Obviously the reverse of 13/9. Just what an insane date for the game. Unless the teams are 0-3 or 1-2, if they're both 3-0, their college game day's gotta be there. Like I saw Pete Thamel put out the day Rich Rod got hired. He said in college football history, Rich Rod getting hired would be one of the biggest stories of the day or month if Bill Belichick didn't get hired by North Carolina today. Yeah. So that's the only thing that could beat it. The greatest NFL coach of all time. Okay, he got to take a back seat to that. But other than that, he wasn't taking a back seat to nothing that day. Like, that was a huge story. And a lot of people that really love football and have for years know how big it is for him to come back after everything, how it ended with the lawsuit. Just so grateful, man. So grateful that this happened for us, especially because we got the Kendricks and everybody excited again, which is what we need if we're going to be serious.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Eugene, man, we'll do it again. Guys, make sure you go check out Napoleon's Corner. Pray for Brandon. Make sure, and is it, how do you say it, Nia or Naya?
Naya, NY''A.
Sorry about that. So Naya, she's got stuff going on. She's putting out a new single soon. And go check out Reflections 2, which is at Barnes & Noble, guys. He's got a lot going on. He, really, really proud of what he's done as a former player. He's a great example of what you can do after college if you work at it. So thanks, guys, for being here. Don't want to go, but we'll be back next time to cover the Frisco Bowl, which we didn't even talk about today. That's kind of sad, isn't it, Napoleon? But it's going to be interesting on what that game looks like tomorrow. I think these players are actually dialed in for this last game. I'll be here to do post game tomorrow, guys, and I'll see you then. For Eugene and for myself, this episode's over, and we're out.